It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
The third thing is there's just going to be people in your life. They're going to say, YOLO. They're just going to say, you know what? Why would I save for the future when none of us are guaranteed we'll even be here next week? So it's better to spend the money now while I have it than to save for the future that's not even guaranteed to me.
Now, in our chat, what's so funny is people say, oh, it's not that I don't make enough, it's that I spend too much. Like, we literally have people in our live chat saying that right now. Well, Brian, I wasn't planning on us going here, but, there's sort of three components to wealth building, right? And one of those components that often gets glossed over, because we talk a lot about time, we talk a little bit about the money, but there's a third component that matters.
It's the discipline. It's the deferred gratification. If you can't get that figured out, guys, this is what the difference between, Dave Ramsey people come after us. I don't know why, because we love Dave Ramsey folks and Ramsey Solution, but their followers come after us because we differ from Ramsey in some ways, and it's because we agree that 80% of the population that can't understand basic discipline stay over there with basic because you need to put your credit cards in the freezer. Yep. You need to do all kind of other crazy things because you just can't control yourself. But we are for the financial mutants that are the 20% that hear that you should put your credit cards in the freezer and go, what?
That's crazy.
Why do I need to do that? I've actually never run credit card debt and had an issue with it. I understand basic discipline. I know that when we do incremental analysis, like on mortgages, I'm always amazed that people say, you know what? That person would never invest that $500. They're going to go spend it. I'm like, who are you?
Yep.
Who are the financial mutants you're hanging out with? We know that our audience is the 20% that does not struggle with basic discipline. So if you do, go back to the basics and then come see us after you've reached graduation status where you don't struggle with knowing, hey, I don't want to run credit card debt that's charging me 18% when I'm just trying to get 8 to 11% on my investments. That is obviously upside down and turning compounding interest against me. We don't struggle with discipline if you're going to be in the financial mutant and part of the Money Guy family.
So so we are sort of nerdy. We're statistics folks. And you say, this limiting belief is it's better to spend money now. I'm looking at you, my doctors who just got out of med school, or my recent college graduates that got their first salary and have their whole life to start saving. I'm just going to do what I do now. Well, one of the things that you ought to recognize, a trend that's happening in society right now, is that it's more likely that you will be here in the future than you won't be here in the future. And that future is getting longer and longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, the whole YOLO crowd. Look, and by the way, I build a lot of memories. I love going on trips whenever we get to start doing that again. I love doing great things for my family where we're a lot of fun. I don't want people, because there is a fine line between being a miser versus being very deliberate and organized and disciplined with how you use your financial resources. But the folks that go on the far, far side of it and say, you know what, I'm just going to live for the day because I'm probably going to die tomorrow. I'm going to die next year. We're just not guaranteed. I'm like, just look at the stats. You will more than likely be here, so plan accordingly.
That's exactly right.
Look at that. I mean, people are living to be 80 years of age, and we just had a pandemic. Who would have thought from the day it was announced it reached the shores of America, fast forward exactly 1 year in the future, we'd have 3 vaccines? I mean, guys, they're getting better. Innovation, once again, not only is it making you more money with your investments because the pie is growing through innovation and technology, they're also expanding things from a medical standpoint. This will continue. There will be opportunities. Plan accordingly.
The earlier you figure this out, the less of today you have to sacrifice for tomorrow. We just went through that. So if you figure it out now, don't start saying, oh, well, I've got time. Your time is right now. People ask us all the time, when is the best time to invest? And they're looking for like the high and low. Our answer always stays the same. The absolute best time to start investing was yesterday, which makes today the second best time to start investing. So get to work.
Well, investing, look, when you're looking for the tool, I love that technology has made the world easier, and this is the best time to be alive to actually invest and make money because there's no barriers to you having access to the investment marketplaces. The problem, there is a dark side to this, and the fact that we have so many distractions now that I think it keeps you from actually choosing the right path forward because you get all the shiny objects that come along the way. I'm thinking about the Reddit boards with GameStop, with even, the cryptocurrencies, the Teslas of the world, all these things. You're like, man, if I'm young, I should go do these things. So when somebody throws out something as simple as index investing, people go, what?
Why would I do that?
Why would I could go do this and make 1,000. And I always tell people, remember, and I've used this analogy, and I noticed this is starting to pick up traction because you guys are using it in your social media posts. Are you a fisherman for sport, or are you trying to fish like your life depends upon it? Because if you want to fish like your life depends upon it, you're not using rod and reel and throwing and trying to catch one big stock. You're actually casting nets and trying to pull in a big haul that will feed you, your family, and generations to come. So just think about that with investments. You're fishing with nets. That's index funds. You're not fishing with rod and reel because, you might get lucky. Maybe you are the person that goes and you happen to pull in Bitcoin and when it was trading at 5,000, or you pulled in Tesla. But the problem is that's not normal. Just like there are sports fishermen that are making millions, they're the exception. They're not the normal. We're trying to help and create wealth for the masses.
I think what happens is because there are all these shiny new things, because there are all these shiny new products, that actually leads to the next limiting belief. The limiting belief is I'm not smart enough to make the right investment decisions. I hear about the GameStops, and I hear about the Bitcoins, and I hear about the Teslas, and I don't understand at all. That investing thing is just too black box. I got to stay away. I don't have the degree, the intelligence, the fill in the blank to be able to do it well, so I'm just not going to do it at all.
Well, the good news is even the supposedly smart people, they're not good at it either. As we have in the next stat is that index funds outperform people who get paid to do this for a living, which are active managers. These are the stock pickers that you can go hire to work for you. And here's what we found when you actually look at the stats.
Yeah, when you look at index funds versus active managers, and this is over the last 15 years, this is the percentage of active mutual fund managers that underperformed the benchmarks over the last 15 years, meaning the index did better than they did. 87.7% of U.S. large cap managers underperformed their respective benchmark, the S&P 500. If you look at mid-cap managers, 82.2% underperformed over the last 15 years. If you look at small cap, 82.2% underperformed. And if you look at international, 87.8% of active fund managers, guys whose job it is to go out there and beat the market, failed. They underperformed their respective benchmarks. So when you hear odds like that, you start thinking, man, it is hard. It is hard. I shouldn't go do this. Even these professionals can't do this right. Yeah, if you're trying to go beat and outperform the market, in our opinion, there's nothing wrong with just being the market, just buying the market, using index funds to participate in the overall growth, not trying to outsmart yourself and try to go out there and beat the market.
And here's one more simplification solution that I want to share with you guys. Because right here we have 4 different asset classes. We have big U.S. companies, small and mid-size, as well as international. You're looking at this go, how much to each do I use? You don't have to try to figure that out, guys. Here's what I tell everybody. It's awesome that now, because of innovation technology, there are indexed target retirement funds, and some of the biggest providers are like Fidelity Investments with their index Fidelity Freedom Funds, Vanguard with their target retirement funds. Guys, all you have to choose is answer 2 questions. If you can answer these 2 questions, how much can I save? When do I need the money? Meaning, what year do I want to graduate, or what year do I need this money to fund this goal, like education or whatever? They'll have a fund that will have that target year, hence the name Target Funds. It does the rest for you. So it's very aggressive in the beginning, gets very conservative. It does all the asset allocation. Pay attention to those things. It's a tremendous opportunity for people starting out.
So I think, we've kind of gone through these common limiting beliefs. What's an actionable thing you can do? As you write down your goals, and we'll talk about in a second, putting your goals down, you ought to write down the reasons why I can't do this. I want to retire at 65, but I just don't make enough money. Or I want to reach X level of wealth, but I didn't inherit it. Write down those goals, and then I want you to write down the reasons why you think that you can't reach those. And you ought to really do some soul search to see, are those true limitations, Or are they limiting beliefs that don't actually impact my ability to achieve that goal?
And then also pay attention to where the sources are. I mean, look, we know media is always going to be negative because they're trying to keep your eyeballs and your ears there to watch the ads because that's how they get paid. You know, if you have a relative that's telling you all the negative stuff out there, look at their situation and go, maybe there's something here that they got a little bit of lemons. They haven't figured out how to turn it into lemonade, but that doesn't mean my life doesn't have to reflect that perfectly. Take inventory of your beliefs and also make sure that you are structuring in a positive, optimistic, because I will tell you, we've done a lot of surveys on our clients. We've done the research, read books. Optimism is actually a very powerful resource when you marry that with the goals planning. This is going to be a superpower. It really kind of fuels the whole process.